And I don't have a ton of time. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Nobody in my office. Or anything.
No worries. It's the Sean Show for this week and next. We're doing, as I mentioned before, we're going to do fleet management this week. A couple of councilors I talked to couldn't make it, but we're going to send them the video so they can get updated. I know during the budget season we had a lot of questions about fleets and leasing versus going to bond for vehicles. Myself, Sean, Mike, and Dustin from Enterprise, who manages a lot of the police fleet, had really good conversation that I thought kind of opened my eyes to a few things, including that electric vehicles aren't quite as cost effective at this moment. They're actually still more expensive, even with the federal rebates, than sticking with gas. But also a bunch of other really interesting facts on just how to better manage our fleet, which is getting older, and there's some interesting options on the table. So with that, I'll send it over to Sean and Dustin.
Yep, good morning. Dustin's got a quick presentation. We've got some documents in front of you to look over. Essentially, there are 11 vehicles, over 100,000 miles that we're sinking money into that's going out the exhaust pipe. And so he's gonna hit it. We're gonna give you some quick numbers of potential savings. If we were to be able to move some things forward and get rid of those vehicles immediately, the money we could bring back in that would actually pay for the leases for the rest of the year. So it would be pretty much no cost to get this up and going and keep things moving forward.
So you're not talking about just the police fleet. You're talking
Correct.
about the entire city fleet.
This is the entire city. Currently, we're leasing 7 police vehicles and 2 highway, water, sewer vehicles. And this would be, there are 37 vehicles that are eligible for leasing. Anything from a small vehicle up to the F550 dump trucks that the highway drives. But it does not include the big plow trucks. So anything in between a small car all the way up to the F550 dumps we can lease. And it's a good program, so here we go. Have at it. This is Dustin from Enterprise.
Hey, good morning. Again, thanks Sean, Charlie, for meeting me here a couple weeks, Mike as well. My name is Dustin. I'm your client advisor, or your fleet strategy manager. So along with the city of Ellsworth, I manage a lot of the main municipalities. Originally born and raised in Caribou, so it's near and dear to me. I like this area. Unless I'm, in high school playing soccer, then I don't like you guys too much. But we got past
Rightfully
that.
so.
But yeah, so Sean kind of kicked it off. The whole idea here is to really, kind of give you guys an understanding of a streamlined, efficient way to ultimately run your business. And it's either buying and holding from a dealer, or it's buying from the manufacturers at invoice versus MRP. It's holding them for a life cycle of 4 to 5 years, 25,000 miles a year, and then it's selling them at that peak time of effective life cycle where you can get the most money back for the resale. So really what I came here today is just to kind of paint that picture to you of what that looks like, and then really over a budget savings of time, so you can get into more of a proactive state when you're ordering vehicles versus a reactive state. Especially from a budget perspective, you're able to kind of streamline those costs. You're able to figure out what vehicles am I going to need, what's the cost that's going to be, and how can that fit into the budget when you're proactively looking at vehicles. So the whole synopsis here, starting with the situation, is just a little bit of overview of what the city of Ellsworth is currently doing today. So there's 37 vehicles across all departments that are underneath our management right now. As Sean said, right now we have 10 that are leased and 27 that are owned by the city of Ellsworth. The average age of your fleet today is about 6 years old. But when we dive deeper into the fleet profile on the next couple pages, what it's going to show you is that your average holding period is actually almost close to 9 years. And that's all based off of your acquisition. So it's how many acquisitions you buy a year versus what's in your fleet. So as you continue to grow your fleet and you continue to buy your acquisitions, that gap is going to get bigger to essentially have the right cycle of how long it would take to cycle all of your vehicles effectively in the fleet. So really the objective here, and I came to Charlie and Sean with this a few weeks ago, was I just put together more of a cost model, if you will, a 5-year model is what I call it. And what that model does is it shows what you could do, what you were doing today, which is buying cash for vehicles, versus what you could be doing, which is making lease payments and getting double the vehicles for the amount of cash that you're putting in the vehicles today. You know, the benefits with this is you're gonna have new cars every 4 to 5 years. The program's gonna be cycling out to each department. You're gonna be underneath the enterprise umbrella, take care of, you know, registrations, renewals. We'll take care of, you know, any recalls, anything as far as safety. Your guys are gonna be in new vehicles every 4 to 5 years. From a retention perspective, your fleet's gonna be looking very nice. I don't know if you've seen some of the police vehicles, but, you know, that's some of the ones that we got last year for them. So the whole goal, the whole idea is to grab the whole city of Ellsworth kind of under one umbrella, under one roof, where we can kind of control those costs and manage them effectively. So, I mean, that's, you know, really why I'm here today. I guess if we want, we can kind of jump into the numbers, but before we jump into the numbers, is there, you know, any questions?
You're doing this throughout the entire state of Maine, you said?
Yes.
And how many?
Yep, so
Oh,
currently
how
today
many
we're
are there?
partnering with the
Okay.
city of Presque Isle,
Thank you, I'm ready.
Waterville,
Oh my God.
Bucksport, and Sabattis.
Okay.
And I know that in Presque Isle is completely, their whole fleet, their city fleet is under them. I know I don't know about Waterville yet, but.
Yeah, Waterville, Presque Isle, the whole fleet is. Waterville's just a police department. Presque Isle went from 14 police vehicles to now 21. Then the second take-home car program in the state. As well, they have their code enforcement, their economic community development, their public works, their water department, their airport. So they're all in the program as well. A great reference if you do ever want to, you know, speak to the city manager or finance director or police chief.
Have you reached out to anyone, Charlie?
Not yet.
I tried reaching out to Presque Isle. I think I've left a message.
I also did. I tried reaching out to Brad. He's a friend of mine. He might be on vacation, honestly. I have no idea.
I tried a couple times yesterday.
Yeah.
What about Bucksport? How far along?
Bucksport is fairly new. Yeah, in the last year. We closed them just at the beginning of the summertime. So they are on their first run of vehicles. 2 vehicles right now that they ordered, and 2 are on the way. So we're dealing with the police chief there and the public works safety administrator. Waterville right now, going kind of through the same process as we are with you, starting with their police fleet and then integrating more into the public works, seeing the town, you know, and those vehicles. But the fully integrated would be the city of Presque Isle. Their fleet's about 42 today.
And so we have 37 vehicles right now with Enterprise.
Yep, the next page will show you actually a breakdown. So the fleet profile, what this is it's just if you took a high-level overview of what's on the ground today. So there's 37 in the fleet today with a total fleet value, so just market value of what your cars are worth, 751,000 there. Average holding period, like I said, of almost 9 years, averaging about 4 to 5 annual acquisitions per year.
What's our total fleet?
I think that's the total fleet is 37 right now.
That's just what we have with.
Yeah, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Or with the, I don't know, Mike, do you have that answer?
I do not have that answer. I don't understand actually why we're saying there's 37 cars under Enterprise. If they only have the police vehicle.
So we have 10, so there's Ellsworth owned vehicles as well.
Right.
So we're gonna have 10 leases, so 10 underneath the Enterprise Fleet
Right.
Management Program.
Yeah.
But a branch off of our program is Ellsworth client owned, so we can manage the maintenance, track the fuel spend,
Okay.
track the visibility. So it's a little misleading there. So 10 out of those 37 are with Enterprise today.
Today, and then the rest, the 20, that's what I understand. The 10, 27 are ours, but that's what could be Enterprise, or could be leased.
So our fuel cards dump into the
Underneath our
Enterprise database.
e-fleets program, so our visibility, so we can see the entirety of what 37 vehicles is what I can see.
So is that what our fleet is, 37?
But there's snow plows.
I was gonna say, that must be
bigger-
included.
No, that's-
Okay,
that's
alright,
smaller
so
vehicles.
37 vehicles could be under the
Lease
Enterprise.
program.
Right
Yeah, no,
now
right
we have
now.
10,
Yeah.
so we can maximize to 37.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Leaves out the big plow trucks and the
Yeah,
fire
but
trucks.
everything else.
Fire trucks,
Okay.
yep.
So is 37 including fire trucks and?
Nope.
No, we don't lease
So
fire
it's
trucks
all
or
just
ambulances.
small?
Yeah, what do you say, F515 below?
Up to the F-550.
Yeah.
and I-
below.
I think
26,000
I
GBW.
mean, the water company has 5 trucks, we have 4
I
trucks.
wasn't thinking of water, so.
And I think in kind of.
Highway has a bunch.
From a general area, like, we're thinking like this 37 is what could be on like the lease budget
Yeah,
cycle.
the cycle.
And then the other part would be the bond infrastructure, and that's like, we'll have a whole fleet piece there. So this would be like, yeah, the ones that go up to the 550 level.
So it's a way of thinking about our fleet kind of in two silos,
Yeah.
this silo and then the big guys.
The bigger ones, and there are lease options with fire trucks, with the bigger one, with the back truck we've considered on kind of putting that, but I think, you know, as we're going to the infrastructure plan, that could be more on bonding, plus the budget plan, you know, looking at, we might not want to go too heavy on the lease, because that, you know, year to year on the general budget, it might be better to think of a fire truck or, you know, the plow trucks to be putting onto a bond over,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
a different cycle, but,
All right, that's helpful, thank you.
Mhm. Yep. So what this shows is just a model year breakdown of all the vehicles that you have and by model year. So you can see you get some, you know, there's 15 between 22 and 23, and then just kind of scattered throughout from 2014 and on. You've got about 2 to 3 vehicles. So the average age of your fleet, about 5.2 years. Your average odometer position, and this is through the WEX cards. This is through just validating data. This is through our maintenance programs. So I feel pretty confident about the odometer. Your average odometer is about 57,000. The leases that we are written, they're either 10,000 for 5 years or they're 15,000 for 5 years. So that tracks with what we're doing, about 10,000 annual miles a year. But the idea to maximize the most on the front end, to then maximize the most on the back end when you're selling them, is to keep your odometers between that green and blue buckets. We don't want to really see anything in the yellow and the red. And why is because the biggest kind of a big benefit or competitive advantage with Enterprise is that it's a way that we resale. So if you think of how we buy and sell vehicles, Enterprise Rent-A-Car buys and sells about 1 million vehicles a year. What we do is we take our remarketing infrastructure from Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we pass that along to our fleet department. So we're selling not just to auctions, but our biggest competitive advantage is we actually sell direct to dealers. And a lot of those dealers will buy those vehicles before 100,000 miles. Once you get to that 100,000 mile range, your fuel is going to start degrading, your maintenance is going to kind of go through the roof, and you're going to be kind of siloed to just auctions where you're just going to get what you get, essentially. So a big way that we can sell, and we sell between 11 and 12% above the commercial black book, which is like the Kelly Blue Book, but for commercial industry, is through there. We do a real good job there.
So you're saying it's, obviously under 50 is best for resale, fewer miles the better.
Right.
But you're saying our average odometer is 57,000 miles for a fleet that's average age is whatever. I guess my question is if we're doing a 10-year or 10,000 or 15,000 mile lease for 5 years, no?
There's no mileage on the leases, right?
Nope, so they're open-ended equity
The open-ended,
leases.
but you're saying, okay.
What they like to see is the vehicles have between 10 and 15,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
So that averaging that is for the resale.
On average, our
Okay.
clients, like the average mileage is about 25,
Okay.
to be honest.
And-
So getting them sold before 100,000 is really the goal.
Yeah, so, and that's on a 5-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work with, police cruisers?
Yeah, no, we've been good so far. Yep. Yes,
Yeah, what happens if we go over?
You got less money.
we get less money when they go and sell them at the auction or to the dealers. We're gonna get a little less return on them.
So it's not like a dealer lease. It's not like it's not like a net lease or like any penalties, wear and tear charges. They're open-ended equity. So we actually, if you think about a funding structure, right? From a dealer lease, you're gonna go and you're gonna buy the vehicle and they're gonna pay it down to a $0 book value. What we do is we pay that down to about a 10 to 15% residual book value. So you're gonna buy the vehicle, let's call it at $40,000, and we're gonna finance that vehicle down to $12,000. We're gonna sell it for $22,000, and then you're gonna get $10,000 in equity back. So the goal is to not bring it down to a 0 book value. There's gonna be a lot of life left in the vehicle. You're not gonna pay that vehicle so far down, but the idea is for you to come out with equity on the other side, and my job is to make sure that we're hitting those numbers, and that's where I meet with you 3 times a year to go over your fleet, go over everything from acquisition to resale, maintenance, fuel, all those numbers, to keep those costs in line, to make sure you're hitting on those numbers, to make sure that you're in a positive equity position at turn.
So if we purchased highway pickups, are we gonna stay under that amount as well for 10-15,000 miles a year?
Yeah, I think so.
Some of
Because
us-
the highway guys are only I mean, yeah, we have, Ellsworth is quite big area-wise, but a lot of the work that highway does is within the core, not necessarily on the outer roads. I mean, I can look at,
The averages, if you look at breaking down by vehicle class, they're all under 15.
Oh, look at that. I don't have my glasses. So I can't see much.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
so that's
We're a
where-
team. We're a
so he
team.
takes all
You're
that
smarter
data
than me,
from
and I
the
can
fuel
see these
cards.
numbers.
Okay.
And is able to produce all that.
Telematics as well, yep,
Yeah,
telematics.
no,
and-
so, but yeah, that's our whole fleet of 37,
Yep,
and.
Grandma, did you take your pills this morning?
Yeah. And so our highest is the mid-size SUV 4x4 average is 15,000, just under
Which is probably you.
15.
Okay.
And then you
Right.
break it down, so
probably
none of our
SUV
fleet
class.
is averaging more than 15,000 miles a year, so that
Okay. And
jives with the model. Some
how,
of them are much lower.
Yeah.
yeah. How did you do like what was the years that you used to get this? Was it just this past year's information, or were you able to get like a 3-year average, or?
just this past year's information, so
That's
it's,
not gonna-
Two, because
this
we-
past 2 since we've been on the program?
Yeah.
Yep,
So this is 2 years.
Full
Yeah,
years?
because we gave him a full year, when we were originally proposing this for the police department, so we've got 2 years of data.
But even for the highway department?
We gave it all, we just
Oh, okay.
sent over the fuel bills.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
gotcha,
And that,
okay.
and, because when, they have the mileage on them for when you have to punch it in.
Okay.
Yep.
so
Oh.
does that fleet profile, go ahead.
Mark?
If I could better
Can you come to the
microphone
podium,
and
please?
yell that.
You're gonna get in trouble.
On the highway trucks, that includes the plow trucks?
no.
No.
The smaller plow trucks, like the F-550s, it does include those, but not the big plow trucks.
And do the 550s offer an optional weight class?
It's 26,000 GVWR is really our threshold. We can go higher, but it's not great from a lease perspective, just because there's a lot of aftermarket in those vehicles. You're gonna hold them for probably more than 5 years. It's more likely gonna be about 7-year hold, 150,000 miles. So we can do them.
Is there an optional front-end weight axle to handle the plow gear?
Yes, these,
Yep.
the 550s have plows on them.
Right,
Yep.
but is the front end optional as far as what it will support? Because I know in the past, we always went, for a long time, we went with 14,000 GVW front ends.
Those are for the big ones.
For the plow trucks. And they weren't handling that. We bumped it up a few years ago to 18,000. Is that option available on the 550s?
The 18, yeah, dude, we can customize it. We can, I mean, the good part about it is we can build, we can buy from the dealer, but we can really customize it to fit your need.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, what's the proposed model?
So this is we'll go through a couple of models here, but what this one is it's a 5-year model, and it's something that I showed these guys a few weeks ago. Bear with me here. Hold on just a second. So today, this is your current fleet size. There's a police vehicle that's coming in, which is why it's not 37. That's why it's not 37. It's 36. So essentially what this model is saying is if you just follow this gold bar here, this is today what you guys are probably currently doing, based on the numbers and what that is. And this is buying cash for your vehicles and paying lease payments both. So today you're paying lease payments and likely also buying cash. I gave that about 4 to 5 annual acquisitions. I ballparked that about 195,000. So essentially what you're doing is you're spending 195,000 in cash to buy vehicles. You're picking up a lease payment of 88,000. Because you're running these vehicles into the ground, you're really not getting too much on the back end of the resale. So you're getting very minimal resale, and what that's doing from a maintenance and fuel perspective is your maintenance is gonna continue to go up because these vehicles are gonna get older. There's gonna be need more work to them, your fuel is gonna go up because just from a fuel degradation standpoint, every year you have them on the road, it's about a mile per gallon less. So just by the fuel, your fuel's gonna go up, which is giving you a total fleet budget of about $409,000. So give or take, that's, you know, that's that gold bar standard of what's going on today. What I'm proposing would be we turn 11 vehicles into the fleet as lease vehicles. Now you're now gonna pick up a lease payment, so 88, on top of the 88 that you have, you're now gonna pick up a lease payment of $217,000. We're projecting that we're gonna sell those 11 vehicles for an average of $60,000 to $65,000. So that money is either gonna come back to the city in the form of a check, an invoice credit, or we can roll those into the new vehicles to lower your monthly payment. It's considered like a down payment, essentially. Your maintenance is gonna go down because they're gonna be brand new vehicles. You're gonna have oil changes, you're gonna have tire rotations, but you're not gonna have any of the major spend that you would have on bigger vehicles, transmission, engine repairs. And then your fuel is gonna go down significantly because you're gonna have better miles per gallon, you're gonna have better overall vehicles, and even if we wanted to switch into the hybrid categories, you know, that those are all things that can happen with those new vehicles to improve. So your fleet budget now moves from $409,000 to $277,000, you pick up savings of $132,000. So as we continue to go down this list, this is just it's considered a full fleet implementation. By the time you get to 2029, this is going to be your fleet flip. In 2029, we're expecting to sell, you know, those vehicles for anywhere from $100,000 to $120,000 because they're gonna be nice vehicles. They're gonna be in the best shape of their life before they start to decline, to sell them for the most money, and then you can kind of see the savings over the 5 years. The projections of essentially running a proactive fleet versus just a reactive, you know, buying cash, paying.
How many years has Presque Isle been doing this?
They've been doing it for 3.5.
Okay, yeah, just, you know, feel like we should talk to them. This is, this all looks great, you know, I like saving money and having better cars for the fleet.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of, you know, we'll culturally have to change some things too, as we saw in some of our cars and fleets.
Yeah, there's gonna have to be a maintenance plan inside and like cleaning schedules. And
Yeah,
stuff
so
like that.
I'm just gonna jump in here then, because on the next council agenda, I have a request to lease 5 vehicles for highway that are not, I had to take them off the road. They were in really bad shape, the guy shouldn't have been driving them, so I told him to take them off the road. But with the, if that gets approved, I've already spoke to, the crew leader out there and told them, going forward, we will be implementing, every truck will have a file, every truck will have a weekly truck check. That will be filled out, the mechanic up there, every time he works on a truck, does anything to a truck, it'll be recorded. Like, we need to be better at keeping our records and keeping our vehicles in good shape.
Now, those 5 you're requesting, is this in this model, or is it separate?
So this is hypothetical, right? This is real. So this right here. So Sean and I have
He was
gone.
ready for that one.
Sean and I have, you know, we've taken the time the last couple weeks, and actually all these vehicles that you see here with all these quote numbers, I found for you today. So we're just kind of waiting from the dealer. The dealer's found the vehicles. So the first page here, the City of Ellsworth, the menu pricing vehicles. This is the proposed 11. So as you can see, it's 1 F-250, or 3 F-250s, 2 F-550s, 2 Chevy Silverados, 2 Ford F-150s, a Santa Fe hybrid, and a Chevy Tahoe. And essentially, I've broken down the numbers for you to show what the rest of your fiscal year 25 budget would look like. So it's about 6 months of payments, really starting in January, once we give 30 to 45 days to get all these vehicles, get them on the road, and then by the time you're making your first payment, it'll probably be closer to January. So about 6 months of those payments right there give you a total annual cost of $67,208 for the 6 vehicles that you're gonna pick up.
11.
11, sorry.
We're picking up 11.
No, we're looking at the ones that have the 100,000 miles on them.
Yeah.
I'm asking for the 5, I was asking for the 5 before we even,
Okay.
but.
The 5 is on
So if
the
you
5 is
remember-
on the bottom.
If you remember during the budget cycle, when I showed you pictures of our trucks.
Yeah,
So the 2014 Ford F-150 is the wastewater truck, that's all.
okay.
But that's not including the 5 from highway. So these are trucks that, these are vehicles that are all over 100,000 miles right now, all in rough shape. We've been holding on to them too long. We have the money in the budget. So for example, the back truck that was approved during the budget. So what we talked about during budget season and what I have set up is that that vehicle is gonna be financed through NCL, and they deferred the first payment for a year. So we have $36,000 in highway money that was set aside in the budget, under ARPA actually, for the back truck, first payment of the back truck. But that truck payment's not gonna be until October of '25 now. So that 3633 is available. I know Sean's got money available.
We have some money available from insurance payments for some wrecked vehicles.
We have $43,000 that we were gonna use towards the new used plow truck that we could repurpose for leases if, because I also have a new plow truck that we're gonna talk about.
We have enough, bottom line is between Mike and I and Scott, we have enough money to cover that payment for the 6 months and then some,
Without going out of budget.
without, yeah.
Then that mean, yeah, it'll need to be a part of the motion if you're gonna do that sort of thing, so.
I'll work with Nate too and just get you a little more details on where that is.
Yeah, and why aren't we using it for other fire or police? And I, don't get me wrong, Mike, I know how much you need the vehicles,
Yep.
we just have to have a really good paper trail on this.
Yep.
So,
Yep. We will, we'll make sure it's there. Yeah, it's, a lot of it's from kind of the insurance money back from other vehicles, and then, some underspend, in the department that could also be considered, but we'll get you those numbers specifically on where they're coming from.
And if you look at the available equity, so at least the first 6 months, in my opinion, is a wash. Because you're turning in 11 vehicles. Sean and I value those 11 vehicles together. We put pretty conservative numbers. So I'd be really surprised if we don't hit 65,000 at least if we're turning in those 11 vehicles. So if you really think about it, those first 6 months of payments, getting to the end of that fiscal year, is almost a wash.
Yeah, it covers it.
It covers it all.
That's the thing too, though, but it's because it's a council decision, you're essentially carrying, it's with these lease payments, we talked about this last cycle, you're gonna carry those into new budget cycles. So in the first one, it might be, wow, this is gonna wash out, we're not gonna be paying more, but you're kind of committing to future budget cycles.
Yeah, well, that's
with the
whole,
lease.
this whole model is we're making a commitment for at least 5 years
Right.
to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the advantage to that though is you know what it is. Like you
Oh,
can,
yes,
you can
yes.
budget exactly what that figure is into your budget and know what it is.
And to me, the other piece of this is so we can stop having this happen, right? Like, hey, we just had to pull 5 vehicles off the road, because, there wasn't adequate maintenance plans, there wasn't, it wasn't part of the budget cycles, and now we have, as we go to this model, we have somebody 3 times a year, odometer, they have a big stake in the game to make sure that these things cycle out according to plan, according to budget. And we don't just have these, hey, we're coming to the council, we didn't talk about replacing these 5 vehicles, we figured out some ways and this and that. It's just gonna be super consistent, and hopefully.
To buy all those 11 vehicles right now would be somewhere around $672,000.
No, I mean, in my mind, if this actually plays out as, model, it makes complete sense. Better vehicles, consistent, you can kind of anticipate what's coming, and in the end, you save money, so, that's a no-brainer. That's why it's like, is Presque Isle seeing this, are there other, and I guess, are there other communities in, it sounds like no one in Maine has this model been around for 5 years yet? Like, what you guys are doing, these rotations, are there any businesses that have been doing this for at least 5 years?
Yeah, we have about 300 so customers that are in New England today. and over, 17,000 vehicles are on lease. So Enterprise Fleet Management's the largest fleet management company in the United States. Maine in particular, they like to do business the way they like to do business, per se. So it's been, in the last decade or so, it's been a real push to get into Maine. But government specifically, we're about 85% untapped in government, and what we found is government's not competitive. So as one person does it and they see that it works, now that's when we've gotten the calls, and that's when we've partnered with the 5 this year, and we're closing with the Waldo County soon. We're in talks with Augusta. We just had talks with Caribou. So, it is starting to catch it. It is starting to work. People are starting to understand it. And why they love it is because they're able to forecast their costs. They're able to fix their budget, essentially.
Did reach out to some local dealerships too that, hey, can we do lease? And they're not really as interested in this piece. It's not like they're,
Yeah, those 2 Silverados are actually from PJ right down the road. And he gave us a nice, $12,000 off on those as well. $6,000 on a.
So you're working with multiple
Yep.
sources?
We work with multiple sources. Ideally, I call it the 80-20 rule. Ideally, we'd like to factory order about 80% if we can to really forecast what our growth needs are going to be. So when I come and meet with Charlie and Sean, I'm looking at 12 months ahead of not what's right now, but what's 12 months ahead, and then you kind of keep that 20% for growth needs. Something goes down, out of dealer. But right now, our dealer leveraging has gone back to kind of pre-pandemic, where we're buying under invoice again, which is what it's always been.
the other thing that was interesting to me was just to see kind of the breakdowns of average cost per mile and some of these other things, which even with the rebates, and the electric vehicles just aren't there yet. But if they come around to it and the rebates change or the mileage efficiency, then we can flip to a different style fleet a lot easier than if we're locked in to purchase vehicles that we're carrying for 10 years.
And we go as you go. If you guys want to go into electric, we're happy to move into electric with you. We're part
Actually, I
of it.
think one of those vehicles, the 11 vehicles, is a hybrid.
It is a hybrid, it's a Santa Fe, yep.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if city staff ground feel comfortable with this projection, and it seems to make sense to them, finance experts, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, especially on the initial one with this unexpected fleet. It was kind of fortuitous. We actually planned this before we knew about this meeting to talk about leasing, before we knew about the cars that are in need of replacement. We had to pull off the road. So there's an administrative piece of this that's a lot more helpful too. That, hey, can you get us 5 vehicles? That would take a lot. We're actually dealing with that with the plow truck. We tried to get a plow truck. We're going to bring it forward to last council meeting. We're trying to get insurance on it. It was a used truck, and then it's gone.
Maggots.
And now we're trying to do a new one. We'll talk about it again on Monday. It's available. We need to put a deposit on it, or else it'll be gone, and then we're a year out from ordering one of these big plow trucks. So,
Just for full transparency, they're holding it for us. I gave them a letter. We didn't have to put a deposit down.
great, because there was another one that left 2 weeks ago too, which is one of those things that it's an administrative burden trying to grab these trucks and hold on to them and then manage them, and then a dig comes up and Mike's off, and
It's just rare that fully equipped brand new plow trucks are available on the lot.
Yeah.
So they got 2 this year.
Have we called any of the local dealers?
That is a local deal. Daigle and Houghton.
Oh, what about Caldwell?
Caldwell had a 2006 he wanted to sell us for 45 grand, but it was not.
So you've already checked with him?
Yeah.
I'm just a little concerned about the RFP process. That wasn't done. I mean, I understand, it's we're getting a great deal, and it's already. 'cause you
Yeah,
guys
I
told me
mean,
you were gonna get it. It's just, I think there's gonna be some question.
So we were gonna bond 300,000 for a new plow truck. These trucks, 2 trucks that are coming fully built and equipped are 256. The first one, we were trying to hold the first one that came along, but by the time we kind of wrangled around how we were gonna hold it, they had sold it, like the first day. So now they have another one coming in December, fully equipped, brand new. So my thought process on that, because there's only so many deals, like Caldwell, we can check, I'll get a price from Caldwell, a brand new truck, but it's gonna be a year out. And then So this truck that's coming in December, we were gonna bond the 300,000 in the bond cycle. So that truck, I've also come up, so the company that's gonna finance the, vac truck will also finance the plow truck. And will also defer the first payment for a year, for a 7-year lease. So.
Fixed rate or variable rate?
Fixed rate, I believe. So, you know, that's the advantage to that. Like, if we had to come up with 256,000 front-loaded this year, obviously that's, or in the bond, that's a big problem. But, it's gonna be obviously your call on how you wanna play it. I have three big vehicles that are on the council agenda. I have the loader for the highway department, I have the vac truck, and I have the, now the plow truck. The plow truck just came. All three are available for financing with 1-year deferred payments. And so it's just how you guys want to play that. But if we finance the plow truck, then that's $300,000 less in the bond that we're going to bond that we could use for other things or not bond at all. But that's obviously the decision that has to be made. But
And I have to see the rates and stuff too.
Yeah.
So, I just have one more question, I do have to go, I'm actually late. So the 5 vehicles that are coming to the council, where are they going? Do they go
Highway.
to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do they go to Enterprise, or do we sell them on the side of the road, like, or, do a sealed bid?
Yeah,
What-
so the pickup vehicle, as long as you have the titles. As long as you have the titles, Enterprise will come pick the vehicles up. Typically, what we'll probably do is we'll send them to the Enterprise dealer, the Enterprise rent-a-car over there. We'll have our drivers pick them up and bring them to Westbrook, we'll recon them, and we'll sell them for you. So there's a line item in the lease of a service charge. I think it's $500, it might be $495 or it's $500. That takes care of everything for selling the vehicle. It just gets taken off the gross sale of the charge.
It's Enterprise, they'll pick you up.
Oh, here we go. All right. I'm so sorry that I have
Thanks.
to go.
We'll get you some more answers on those pieces, and
Okay.
I know it's it's part of this and getting the fleet managed and ordered and organized, and the bond cycle too, and kind of putting the roads together. I think there is, as we talked about, got to separate. We have a lot more infrastructure than just this, but roads, this fleet, that's the real push. And the other thing I do like about this is with replacing these cars and others is that part as well, that we're not just putting things in envelopes and sealed bids for, just running a vehicle to the ground and getting like nothing for it at the end. We can be a little more predictable and kind of stop getting to this.
We are a preferred partner with Sourcewell as well. They're
But
actually
Sourcewell is the company that's financing the trucks.
our preferred partner, so they handle the due diligence process, which is nice.
Which company is that?
So you can explain Sourcewell, but NCL works with Sourcewell to do municipal financing, taxes out financing. Sourcewell, I don't know how to describe Sourcewell, you can describe it better than that.
They essentially handle the RFPs and the due diligence process, so those 2-year processes get handled weeks.
And then you guys buy it from them? With us?
Yep.
But Sourcewell is a huge entity that works with a lot of municipal governments. and
So
state
Sourcewell has
governments.
great discounts with us as well.
Exactly. You get-
Great.
yeah.
It's not just a clever name, they source.
Yeah, they do Sourcewell. And a clever name. So ultimately, the proposal is the 11 vehicles for the 67,000. And that's all payments, that's including all the aftermarket, that's everything up front. Again, my vision is we sell the other ones and you're basically gonna wash for the first 6 months. You pick up the lease payments of the other 10, then you go into your next fiscal year with an idea of what the budget's gonna have to be.
So are we enter into a contract that ties us to this proposed schedule, or is that, so it's just yearly, we decide?
That's the recommendation.
Yeah.
All I can do is give you the recommendations.
Yeah, no,
so-
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, so for Monday, it'll be, those 11 will be brought to the council.
I think so. Is that
The 5 are already on it, I can expand it to 11 if you want.
I think we should.
Yeah, and then we can just make this a wash in terms of year one.
Yeah, and then I
Well,
think it's,
so you're gonna do that.
as far as, we still wanted to, I think it'd be good for you guys to reach out to other folks
Yeah.
that are in
Yep.
this, but, you know, especially Presque Isle, if they're 3.5 years in.
Another good thing, Patrick, to know is we can get out of this, we can get out of this at any time.
Yeah, that's why I was at, yeah, it seems like it's like,
We
you know.
can, we could buy the
we do it for
vehicles, we
3
could sell
years
them,
and-
have them sell them, get our money back out of them, we can move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
So
Alamo
we're
starts
not
really
locked
doing
into
this
them.
well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, it's easy to even have this data on our vehicles and fleets and whatnot, and that's, the other piece of this too is we gotta kind of like match this for the other parts of the fleet.
Well, the other
Fire
option
trucks,
that he
yeah.
didn't mention is, literally, they could buy the 37 vehicles, give us a check for all 37 vehicles, and then put them in the lease. So he could get a check for $750,000, and then put all the vehicles in a lease. He didn't bring that up, but that is an option if we ever
But
want.
then
Cash
we're-
up.
But then we're not on that cycle, then we've got 30.
So-
you
so what
lease
would-
it
what
back
would
to
you-
our own vehicles back to us?
So we could buy if depending on the market value, right? If it's an older vehicle, we could buy the vehicle out for $1, take title to it. When it's ready to sell, or when we're ready to, when we think you should sell it, you'll get the equity back. Or depending on what the vehicle, if it's a newer vehicle, it's paid off, we can do a cash funded lease. So we take 80% of the market value of what the vehicle's worth. We just stroke you a check on what that's worth. We take the asset of the vehicle, we put it on a term to cycle, and then we cycle the vehicle as fit.
And I could see that more in the next budget cycle,
Yeah, I'll defer to.
you know, that's,
I just wanted to bring it up because there are other options.
Because there is a way, if
available
you need cash now, or if you wanted to consolidate and you wanted to grab everything under the umbrella, Enterprise we can buy out, you know, your fleet.
Okay, that's something to consider. But yeah, I think it makes sense to get the 11 on the agenda. Dustin, would you be here on Monday, or?
I don't think I'll be here on Monday, but I can certainly zoom in if it's possible.
I think it
Yeah.
might not be a bad idea if you are available. to
Sure.
Zoom in, just to.
Yeah.
I thought-
And I'll go to Ebony and amend my item to include 11 vehicles instead of the 5.
Yeah, you might be able to do that
We can do it.
in the meeting
We can do it
itself.
in the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a number on it.
I don't know if this needed a
Very
public
vague.
hearing. I don't think this needed a public hearing. In some ways, this was kind of brought up just because of the need. We had to pull a bunch of vehicles off the road.
We can be nimble.
Yeah, so when I come up for the, my agenda item, I'll just voice over that. I would like to expand it to 11 vehicles and explaining the why, and then Sean will be there, and then Dustin can zoom in and we can
Yeah.
hash it all out.
Yeah, and Tammy and Michelle can, seems like Tammy is amenable to that concept of doing that there.
That's why we like Tammy, because she doesn't jump into anything. She thinks about it. I think it's great. I'm like, sure, sounds good. Go for it.
No, and we'll have to.
These numbers look right.
We'll have to review the RFP process again with, you know, some of the plow truck issues that we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we did get pricing from Caldwell for the used stuff, and it wasn't good. I can reach out to him and ask him what it would cost to order a brand-new plow truck and get that number from him, but I don't know if I can have it by Monday.
Yeah, there was some used, we would probably need to have the used vehicle backup, but they were, was it 65,000 per, I can't remember offhand, but for.
So
old
there's two
vehicles.
2016 used vehicles that are out there, and I don't know if they're still out there, but they were out there for 75,000 coming from South Berwick. We were only looking for one. And then the brand new one, like, that's like a unicorn that shows up, like, not very often.
Yeah, it's out in the price.
And it was 256, so.
And spending 75 grand on a 2016, that's, we're not, that, yeah, we're gonna put another 2 years on and then have to get nothing back out of it. I don't like
But I will attempt to get a price from Caldwell for the similar truck for brand new, what it would cost us to order a brand new truck. If I can get that by Monday, I'll have it.
And then we'll have to figure out just the financing with, and again, especially if we go with the 11, in year one, we're gonna be good, but it's just like what the commit is going forward.
Yeah.
But you also see in the, especially in this one, is it's that kind of total in the savings and the fuel costs going down. And we just, you know, we go from, you know, a much bigger,
Yeah, well, the nice thing about this model too is every year, you know, obviously prices fluctuate and all that, and we can, you know, we have this, but we can be kind of nimble
Yeah.
and mess with it and see what works for us.
And the other thing that we just need to make sure we capture is, like, not all of that money's coming out of the general fund going forward, because some of those vehicles are in enterprise funds. So the Ford
Oh, yeah.
2014 would be coming out of the wastewater fund, and anything for the water would be coming out of the water fund, it wouldn't be coming out of the general fund.
That's good too.
Yeah, you asked, I just put this in here. It's similar to your fleet, it's a little bigger, but it's just a county in Wisconsin, and it's just a testimonial of just, they improved their light duty fleet and saved more than 482,000 over 4 years. So a quick read if you just want to go over it. But I thought it went well and spoke to you guys, because they were at a 9-year hold, and we brought them down to a 5-year, and 482,000, net budget savings over 4 years, 35% improvement in miles per gallon, and 177% increase in annual mileage, with average fleet spend savings of 38%. So just a quick case study, somewhat relevant to,
Yeah, similar climate to,
yeah.
cold winter to
A lot flatter. Out there.
yeah, that's true. That's hills are good.
There's a lot flatter.
All right,
But yeah, that's all I got, so
I got a meeting in Jackson Labs.
Yeah,
thank you all for,
yeah, thank you, Dustin.
Justin, we'll talk to you on Monday.
Very good presentation.
thank
Now, you
you.
said you're from Caribou?
I am, yeah.
A Bouchard.
I'm a Bouchard.
You escaped the valley, your family?
I did.
The southern university.
Yeah, I spread my wings to the University of Maine, and then I moved south from there, so.
My
I live
dad's
in
from-
Wyndham now.
My dad's from Limestone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a half-ass county boy.
My,
That's what I've been called.
I had, well, my father's side's from New York, but they all like moved to Limestone probably like 20 years ago. So my dad